Yeah, give me about 10 seconds because I actually missed the last your joke the last time. It cut that part off.
No.
But we should be good now. So I posed the question on last night's show, is Skyrim overrated? And I do think it's overrated. You know, you're looking at this like NCAA 14. We haven't had, I mean, they came out around the same time, by the way. I think like 2012 or 2010. When did Skyrim come out?
2011.
2011. It's buggy. It's buggy to the point that it's game breaking.
Just so you people know,
it's repetitive.
Just so you people know, I haven't. I'm a Skyrim apologist, and RecTalk just hit me with this silly question, and I'm gonna be defending. I'm a big Skyrim fan, and I just brought up the same day that he posed this question on the show. I wasn't on the show because I was playing Skyrim.
Which was the wrong choice, by the way.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, I can't believe that,
dude.
I had honestly thought higher of you. I thought that
Skyrim isn't even the best Elder Scrolls game.
See where I'm coming from. Listen,
Morrowind's better.
Listen, I'm not.
It is
better.
Morrowind's flat out better. It's a better game.
So much better. Yeah. I bet you like Dungeons and Dragons too.
I like good games
because everybody wants to have a sword in your hand and go try to fight a level 1 bug outside of the tutorial area, and you can't hit him. He's 3 feet in front of your face, and then you get stunned.
Yeah,
into your
you want to talk about realism? You want to play Skyrim where no matter what your stats are, you know you're an expert swords person. It don't matter what your stats are, and that's all Morrowind's telling you. If you're not like a barbarian starting out, you're not going to be able to knife somebody. You can get your ass kicked.
A master. Okay. All 3 of the games, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, allow you to break their systems. All 3 of them. So that's not a fair argument against.
I'm just saying Skyrim systems are more broken. What does every playthrough of Skyrim boil down to? Stealth Archer. Every single one.
More broken. Listen, that's funny that you say that. I've never played as a stealth archer.
So you don't even know how to play your favorite game right then.
It's not my favorite game.
Let's just call that what it is.
It is not. I've never played as a stealth archer. You can, like I said, you can have different play styles. You don't have to be a stealth archer. Just because people default to that.
Because it's the best.
Because it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah.
Is it the best? Because you can do this in Oblivion too, mind you. You can like fly across the map in one jump.
You can do that in Morrowind.
Oblivion and Morrowind.
Yeah.
You can do other things even when it's not balanced. So like people say, well, destruction. Destruction.
I'll tell you the biggest drawback of Skyrim. Okay, I'm gonna be negative and then I'm gonna give you a positive. The main story of Skyrim sucks balls. The side quests are good. And the thing is, you haven't even played the good side quests in Skyrim, like Dark Brotherhood. I mean, your opinion on this makes no sense.
I played the Dark Brotherhood.
Okay.
I played some of it at least.
Okay,
but
you didn't finish it.
Now, the main quest is funny. Is it the best? No. But, I mean, you have this, like, all-powerful dragon that nobody can beat.
Alduin.
They send him to the future because they can't beat him, and then do nothing to prepare.
Yeah, it's basically the same plot as Back to the Future Part 2. If you like that story, you'll love Skyrim.
Dude, I don't see what's wrong with the story. I mean, other than that, like, small detail, it's just a funny thing. You know?
Well, and then Parthenos.
I mean, that's a cool concept. Is you can't beat someone, so you have to send them to the future. That's cool.
I mean, yeah, I guess like it's not OOT.
Like,
or anything,
we'll deal with it later. It's
not Skyward Sword or OOT level of that, trope, but it's okay.
Well, I can't. I've never played Morrowind under Oblivion, so I can't speak to
Well, Morrowind's story
their
is the
story.
best, and the like, Dogoth like all of that is fantastic. I will give you that the gameplay and mechanics of Morrowind did not age well. I'll give you that.
No, and Skyrim's did. I mean, you have.
Did it?
Yes, dude. I still have a blast. The enchanting system is not something that I've seen in any other game. The enchanting system is still very fun to this day.
It's better in Morrowind though, because you're not limited. You're not limited to certain effects or a certain number of effects. Like if you have the money, you can make a godlike enchantment. You can pay for it. In Skyrim,
you can do that in Skyrim too.
Now you're limited to 2 enchantments, and that's only if you have the correct perks.
What do you mean you're limited to 2 enchantments?
Enchantment effects. So if I'm enchanting my jerkin, then I can only put 2 enchantments on it.
You're saying per
item.
Well, how many do you need?
Bruh.
That is such a weird criticism. Like, okay, you can break the game in Morrowind. You can also break it in Skyrim, but you can break it a little less.
Well, if you're going to allow me to break something, I want to smash it. Don't put limitations on me breaking the thing.
Is your argument that Skyrim's overrated, or is it that your argument is Morrowind is better?
Well, no, I don't even have to talk about Morrowind to say Skyrim's overrated. Like,
Skyrim is...
Yeah.
Skyrim is it gets its popularity because of how accessible it is. It's like...
Meaning easy and for noobs, or...
Now, you're arguing from the perspective of a Dark Souls fan, where...
Yeah. where don't even go down that. All right. What is going on, everyone? For some reason, on StreamYard, my green screen isn't working, so pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Surprise, I don't really have a non-green screen setup. I definitely do. What is going on, everyone? Hope you're doing great tonight. That was an actual phone call between me and C-Dog, and he's been saying for a while, dude, some of these calls are ridiculous. Like, we should record them. And I have the capability of doing that now. Like, on my soundboard, I can play my phone through the soundboard via Bluetooth. So I was like, all right, we'll do that. And I've recorded a few more. I think what I'm going to do is have the unedited, and I probably shouldn't do this, unedited versions. I'll have to edit some of it because sometimes we talk about personal stuff. But I might put that up for members only. I'm going to edit in some clips into that video and make it slick, and I'll upload that to the channel. Skyrim belongs to the Nords. Inwa. That's what I have to say to that. True Seminole, do you play Stormcloaks? I actually like the Stormcloak Rebellion. I tend to be more of a contrarian than not. And I don't think it's right that the Imperials come in and tell these Nords and Jarls what they can do with their own land. Really, Skyrim is just another Ruby Ridge. Skyrim's just a replayed Ruby Ridge. C-Dog, do you want to step in the StreamYard? I don't know if you're able to. You probably would have already if you were able to. But we'll be taking calls tonight. Look, there's a link in the top. It's pinned in the top of the chat if you want to call in and look at a guy with a horrible green screen behind him. You can do that. You're at WreckTalk show. You can do that. C-Dog's playing Skyrim. Wow, dude. C-Dog, did you know we just signed a defensive tackle transfer from Miami? Thomas Gore, did you know that, or were you playing Skyrim and missed it? We'll talk about that tonight. Let's go through the chat. Braden Gregory says, what's up? What's going on, man? Skyrim for life, says True Seminole. You guys, let me guess, True Seminole, you're younger than 30. if I had to guess. Lots of people that are younger from 30, they don't have a lot of life experience. They think Skyrim is just the tits. It's because you don't know any better. And I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it ain't the bee's knees like y'all make it out to be. John Burns has said Friday night, Home Alone. Well, where is everybody, John Burns? Nor really it peaceful here with the dogs. Yeah, my dog's been barking at me a lot while I'm trying to work. It's annoying. True Seminole says, never done a stealth build. Sea Dog says that too. I don't know if I believe y'all. Because stealth archer is just fun. It's just fun. True Seminole says, hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button. Help me out tonight, guys. Stormcloaks for life. I'm playing Skyrim. I heard much needed. All right. Coffee Killer in the house says, there he is. Oop, there it is. John Burns is in Atlanta. All right, before we get to the first call, I have not been paying attention to the Discord like I should, and this is where I saw this. Georgia Tech lands Miami defensive tackle transfer Thomas Gore. And if I remember right, I remember Slim talking about Thomas Gore, saying he was a big deal. Now, if you didn't know, the portal window's closed, opens for 2 weeks, and then it closes. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go to another school. It's just you have to declare you're going to be in the portal in that 2-week period. It says Georgia Tech still after some players in the portal. I know we need, I think, at least like one more defensive back, too. But, hey, Miami defensive tackle Thomas Gore committed to the Yellow Jackets this evening. I think this was yesterday, giving Tech their third defensive line transfer of the spring. So we have Penn State defensive tackle Jordan Vanderberg and USC defensive end Romello Height. And they misspelled his name on here, which is a little frustrating there for Sports Illustrated. Let's see if we can where's my right screen? There we go. There he is. It says Gore is not unfamiliar with Atlanta, having played at Georgia State before transferring to Miami. And now we're in this cycle, or not a cycle, but like I'm sure y'all saw, you'll call in a second, you're ordering some food. Okay. Well, I just ate some food. By the way, if you like Mexican, Zama Grill, Mexican Grill, and Smyrna is the tits, unlike Skyrim. But yeah, people transfer every year now, literally every year. Well, I would love to hear some people call in and talk about what you think about all this, because all I do know is that this is not sustainable. You've got a player suing a current head coach of a rival school. You have, I don't know if it was a troll or not. I saw Uncle Lou posted, but it was from On3, so I tend to believe it, that Shador Sanders, or maybe the other Sanders, the other son, is filing for bankruptcy because someone in Texas is saying he assaulted him. And these kids are going to find out. Having money's great, but you are no longer judgment proof. Now you stand to lose something, and people might sue you, for all these sue-happy people, and try and get a piece of it. And whether you're right or wrong, this is the dirty truth about not just this country, but really, I guess, industrialized countries in general. Whether you're right or wrong, if you get sued, you still have to defend yourself, which costs money. I guess you can countersue for that, but you don't always get it. The hate on Skyrim is real. You're a Fallout guy? Nah. I'm a solo every Souls boss guy. That's the kind of guy I am. Defensive line, arguably the biggest position that Georgia Tech needed to address this spring. Boy, don't we know it. And we've got some pieces like Romello Height is huge. This Vanderberg kid didn't get a ton of playing time at Penn State, but he's strong as hell. He's strong as hell. He graduated from Penn State, so I don't think academics are going to be an issue with him. We're better. We're better this year on the defensive line than last year. I can say it. Even with losing Kennard, and who was the other one that went to Michigan State? I don't remember. With colleges fully paying players now, will we see no transfer contract soon? You're going to have to see contracts. And again, if you want to call in and talk about it, there's a StreamYard link at the top of the chat. I don't see how if you're directly paying them, you got to have a contract to protect the school, the team, and the player. There's just no way around that. Now, the issue with that is Title IX. Talked about it on Wednesday on Pigskin Pete's midday show. But you can't have a school pay all the football players something, like directly the school pay them, which is what this new NCAA ruling is about. Each school can pay or it's like an unfunded mandate from my understanding, $20 million to their players. But you can't pay the football players 10 grand a piece or 20 or 30 or whatever it is, and then not pay the women's soccer team the same thing. That's a Title IX violation. That's a federally protected thing, which unfortunately seems to mean that the NCAA is just going to, like, these schools are going to have to break off from the NCAA. I don't see a way around that either if you're going to directly pay the players. C-Dog says, our starters might be good, but I'm worried about depth. All right, we got Jason here. Let me switch screens real quick. Where's my caller screen? I have one. What's going on, buddy?
Hey.
What do you want to talk about tonight? Jason's called in before, a recent tech grad, right? Or somewhat recent tech grad.
Yeah, I graduated spring of last year.
Well, congratulations. Computer science, right? If I remember.
Yes.
I love it. What was something programming came up? I was using a program for work and it just runs through the RAM. And so I think what it does is it just doesn't do like proper heap and stack management. And it just keeps addressing things to memory without erasing them and clearing things up. And then eventually it just fills your RAM up and then it locks everything up.
So why? Why did they use that program?
Well, this is something you're going to find out in the job world is that there's a lot of really poorly optimized programs out there.
Oh, yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, we're talking about Skyrim. Skyrim's not necessarily poorly optimized. It is poorly programmed somewhat, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's part of the charm, though, isn't it? That it can be buggy, and sometimes you get some really funny situations.
It's a feature, not a bug. I'll tell you the most poorly optimized game I've played recently is Hogwarts Legacy. I have a 4080 Super, and it struggles with that game, which should not be the case at all.
That's odd. Yeah, that's a game I mean to play at some point. I remember I was playing Battlefront 2. It was on sale, and there was a glitch where every time you shot an enemy, they would just float up into the air.
Well, EA is kind of known for.
Yeah.
I tell you what will work every time with EA is however their monetization system works. That will work like a charm every time.
You better believe your credit card will go through 100% of the time.
The defensive tackle's name is Thomas Gore. So what do you think on the tech side of things? You know, we've talked about college football. We just landed a defensive tackle. How are you feeling about the defense this year, Jace?
So that's a good question. So I like the biggest part is the defensive hire. I think Santucci is a very, very solid hire overall. I mean, obviously Duke's defense was the highlight of the team. Now, was that more Mike Elko or him? That remains to be seen. That's kind of the biggest point. Obviously, D-line is the big worry, and we have some good transfers. It's mostly seeing how they're going to gel together. I remember seeing a lot of stuff where you have like and or positions. So some are and. That means everyone needs to do well, and one failure means the opposing team will do well. The or means if one person does well, that group succeeds. So, for example, like your secondary is more of an and position because if one secondary person fails, you have a big gain.
Are you using Boolean algebra right now to describe our team? I love it.
A little bit. But with defensive line, you can make an argument it's more of a or type where if one person can get to the quarterback, that's huge. So
yeah,
do we have one of those guys? I don't know. I think we need someone to take a step forward for sure.
I would love. I think Sylvain Yanjuan can. He's been there a while, coming off a ACL tear, which you never know. Never know how that's going to happen. But Leo Blackburn's coming off another ACL tear as well. I'm trying to think, just who we have on the defensive line returning. So I know Sylvain. There's like a Joshua Robinson, I think. Micaiah Scott, Zeke Biggers.
If one of them can take that step forward, we see a big change. My big, struggle with kind of trying to think what we're going to do is our schedule is so difficult. Where it's like, what does actual realistic progress look like? I know we all want to see 8-9 wins, and I think that's very possible. But like last year's team likely doesn't make a bowl with this schedule.
No, last year's defensive alone doesn't make a bowl. What type of algebra did he say? Boolean algebra. Do me a favor if you want to know all about that. Look up something called Carnot maps, and you can do a deep dive on some Boolean algebra. But
It's so much of that in college. Oh my gosh.
Am I bringing back bad memories
today?
Did you had to do Carnot maps? I'm sure.
A long time ago. That was early on.
That's a little more electrical stuff and like circuit level design, but
yeah, that was like early into my college career.
The defense. I mean, look, the and in your scenario is the whole defense. If our defense doesn't hit, if it's not markedly improved, we will not make a bowl. Like if you said, "Hey, I'll give you one stat. You don't know what the record's going to be. I'll give you one stat. Give me our overall defensive yards given up, or overall, where we rank points, and I could tell you just based on that alone whether we're going to make a bowl or not."
Well, I tell you, if we see the most tackles are made by the secondary, that's going to be telling.
Yeah, Joe Hamilton called that out. Actually, when Collins was still here, I was listening to 680 The Fan because I'm old like that, and I'll listen to the radio. But they said, "Oh, Clayton Powell-Lee was the leading tackler today. Like that's really good for him." And Joe Hamilton was like, "Yeah, that's good for him, but that's not good for the team." If you're making all those tackles in the secondary. So it does look like we're getting some pieces together on the defense, and I agree with you. I don't know how much was Elko and how much was Santucci, but I know we're going to be better with Santucci. And, there's a reason that Elko hired the guy, I'm sure.
That was a funny thing. I was talking to Clayton Powell-Lee's uncle before the Gasparilla Bowl, just because I ran into him. And he was talking about that. He's like, "Yeah, I'm really proud of him for having his made tackles. I don't think he should be the lead tackler in any game, but I'm proud that he's doing as well as he has."
Preferably a defensive lineman as your leading tackler, and if not a linebacker. But and you're right. Our schedule is tough. I mean, I think we have 6 ranked teams or maybe more on there, which means those would be 6 upsets if we play today. So that's what you're going to have to get a good number of upsets to make a bowl on this schedule now.
And we're going to be taken more seriously.
Yeah, we're not going to sneak up.
I think we did so we did so well in some games just because they weren't expecting anything.
Yeah. For some reason, North Carolina kept doing that. I don't know why, but it worked in our favor.
Unironically, I think we might be favored this year against North Carolina, though.
I actually don't think so. They might have one of the softest Division I schedules in the country, actually, not just for the ACC. Yeah, I mean, how many ranked teams do they play? Let me pull up North Carolina's schedule. I mean, their toughest non-con game is Minnesota week 1. North Carolina,
who they're terrified of, as we know.
Yeah, they had to black out their spring game for them. So they open up with Minnesota. Then they got Charlotte at home, the 49ers, which is where people who can't play defensive D1 ball transfer to.
Yeah.
North Carolina Central Eagles is a team I've never even heard of. There's not many football teams at any level that I haven't even heard of. That's one, though. James Madison. James Madison is not a bad team, but they should beat Madison.
Yeah. James Madison might give them the first fight they've seen so far. Oh, no, Minnesota.
Yeah, James Madison's a good team, but I mean that's a pretty weak non-con. Then they go on the road at Duke. Duke has a new head coach. Duke had every good player ripped from him in the portal and has an entirely new coaching staff. Pitt's been down, but I think Pitt will be much better this year. What were they, 3-9 last year?
It was
Uh,
really bad.
but they're more talented than Pitt by a good margin. Then they got the best team in the country, Georgia Tech, in Chapel Hill. That's a home game for them, though. Then they get a bye. Then they go to Charlottesville, which should be an easy win for them, but Virginia beat them
Yeah.
last year. And then their toughest game of the year at Florida State. They get another bye, Wake Forest, Boston College, NC State. So they have two
So
ranked teams in a soft non-con.
looking at this, I can kind of now understand why UNC fans are so like arrogant for this coming year, because like a half decent team easily gets 9-10 wins.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Absolutely. A good team is 10-2. You're thinking 10-2 on that.
Yeah.
Like without
Drop into like Florida State and
NC State, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
And we'll see if NC State can take the step up. But yeah, I mean, so I think they will be ranked. I mean, they don't play really anyone before they play us. Man, there was another article. Oh yeah, new Georgia Tech defensive assistants get 2-year contracts. So I guess Key doesn't have a ton of. He's not going to get burned again, I guess. It says Tyler Stantucci will make $600,000 for the 2024 season, which is pretty good, I think, for where he's at and where Tech's at. He'll make $850 should he stay next year and 2026. And the contract, I guess, comes to term January 31st, 2026. Now it looks like the rest of the staff's on 2-year contracts too, but yeah, I thought I'd mention that. What are you excited about this year?
Well, our offenses should be one of, and this may be a little it should be one of the best in the country. I mean, Haynes King is a top 3 ACC quarterback in my opinion. I don't think there's any reason to not think that. Cut down on interceptions, we can see a lot. Obviously, we have oh, I'm blanking. Well, our receiver room is really, really stacked. We have Leo Blackburn coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gonna be very fun to see us air it out. And even when we're on the ground, we still have Jamal Haynes. We're gonna miss Dante Smith, but still, it's gonna be very solid. Lots of talent, lots of returning people. So that's definitely our offense. Watching it be electric. I would love to see Haynes King absolutely ball out.
Me too.
He's probably the best Georgia Tech quarterback I've seen live, like
Yeah.
been at a game to watch. So that's going to be what I'm excited for.
We definitely should have one of the best offenses in the conference. I can say that. And we'll have definitely one of the best offensive lines in the conference. Like I've been saying that for a while. Like people might sleep on our offensive line, I still think, though. And I think that they're in for a rude awakening with that. And you're right. Haynes King is a good quarterback. We've got Eric Singleton Jr., Leo Blackburn coming back. We got Christian Leary.
I really like our wide receiver room. I think it is an underrated room. I would not be surprised if next year people try to poach some people from that room because I think it's very impressive.
Well, we know they've already tried to poach Eric Singleton Jr. from his own mouth. Like he's basically all but confirmed that. Which I guess that could get us into something else. Like, what do you think about? Because I'm older, so I've seen a lot of college football, I guess, in 20 years or so. But what do you think about the landscape of college football right now?
I find it a bit distressing, especially as a Tech fan, where there's a lot of uncertainty for this team. I've watched your videos on realignment, and I hate realignment. I hate how much I liked the regionality, and like, I at no point watched football in the 19s anything because I was not alive, all through 2000s.
Wow.
But even then, there was still some regionality to it, right?
Yeah.
That's a fun thing. I like being able to walk on the side of the road and see a rival team. Now, I hate doing that with Georgia fans because they crowd everything. But, you see a fan of some other team that's not too far away. Or heck, my father-in-law is a Clemson fan. So sad that rivalry is gone now because it was, well, not recently, not so much. But in the past, it's been really, really good. So that is a big loss. And when you consider literally any teams except for football and basketball, it's devastating.
Yeah.
You're asking these like baseball teams to travel, or women's softball teams to travel, and they don't have the funds. They're not necessarily flying, they're driving across the country. That's crazy.
Yeah, if they're
So it's
flying, it's
devastating.
just on a regular flight. It's not a chartered flight or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
So in my opinion, it hurts all athletics to take away that regionality. It makes it less fun in terms of like bantering with people. Like now it's just kind of Twitter. You can never really talk to a random fan unless you know them already, and that's just luck.
well, yeah, and I tend to agree. Well, Jace, I appreciate you calling in. What you have any final words for us?
No, that was it.
All right,
Thank you for having me.
appreciate it, man. That was Jace, good friend of the show, and another friend of the show, Mr. Burns. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Sitting in Woodbine, Georgia,
Where is that at?
just above Jacksonville, Florida, on I-95.
Oh, so you're way down south. I hear
Yeah,
you.
every game is about 5 hours and 20 minutes for us to get there.
You need a helicopter like Key has on recruiting visits to get to the games.
Well, I bought a lottery ticket, so we'll see.
We'll hear you. Mr. Burns, what do you
But
want to talk about tonight?
I was just I'm always thinking about funding, and what do you think about, will we be able to raise more money now that we're not going through NILs and everything, and the teams can be or the players can be paid direct from the school?
It's interesting. So when I first heard about how this NCAA settlement came about, I thought the NCAA was paying the schools $20 million a piece. That is not the case. They're saying you need to pay these athletes $20 million collectively. Now that I guess to try and avoid future lawsuits, they're paying players of like the last 10 years about 2.7 billion, like in a class action way a class action lawsuit will happen.
Yes.
What I don't understand is, like if you ever been in finance or like leadership in a company or something, all these buckets of money are like earmarked for specific things. So if I donate to tech for a scholarship academic purposes, my understanding is like you can't just use that on athletics. So I don't have a clear understanding of how this money is to be distributed or where it can come from. At the end of the day, I think it's a wash because it's not going to do anything for the parity of college football. The teams that have money will still have money, and they will be the ones that are able to pay the most, right?
Right.
That's not
Yes,
going to
I agree
change.
with that. But what do we do at North Avenue to get a stronger fan base or better donation packages together with our fan base?
I think winning helps. I mean, I know personally, a lot of, I mean, look, a lot of these donors have watched the Collins years and kind of the way things went, and we're like, man, I'm not participating in this anymore. So you're gonna, I think we've done everything we can up to this point to win some favor back. I think we absolutely have the right guy because a lot of it's not just going to be from donors like an individual. A lot of it's also going to be from businesses, and I think Bat's done a really good job with that. I think the Hyundai
Yeah,
deal was good to get some money in. I think you're gonna have to be creative at Tech.
yeah, I'm very pleased with the J Bat hire, and uh, I was a little apprehensive with Key. I thought we should have went with some of the other well-known names, but
Like Chadwell.
after, yeah, well, nah, I really wasn't his fan. I was O'Brien from the offensive coordinator that
We,
went to Boston College from Alabama.
yeah,
Yeah, he was the one I thought we should have hired. But now that I've watched Key for a year, and I'm pretty pleased, and he don't pull any punches. He told the last group of defensive coordinators is to hit the road. So, and he did it in no uncertain terms. And I was pretty pleased. I mean, I've always been an old school guy that you spit it out on the ground, and that's the way it is.
yeah. Now I've talked to people that would know. And I made a comment. I said, it just doesn't seem like Key's playing around, or he has patience for a lot of nonsense. And the guy said, no, not at all. And I think that is one benefit of Key. Like, there's a lot of kind of politicking and silver tonguing in college football right now. I mean, there's no telling what some of these programs tell these kids to get them in there. I do think with Key,
Right.
like, he's a straight shooter. What you see is what you get. I know, like, I forgot, my dad was telling me about it. He read it in an article. It might have been from JOL or something, but that, a lot of teams roll out the red carpet for these 4 and 5 or high 4 stars and 5 stars, and Key treats them the same. Like, he wants to see them, he gets the pads on them, and he wants to see them work. And I think, one, that's because Tech knows they've got to, their evaluations have to get them there. You're not going
Right.
to hit on all these kids.
And and that's another thing is about. I've been on teams and been involved in situations, and prima donnas are not an asset to your team.
No, not at all. I mean, it sounds like you're talking about Colorado all of a sudden.
Maybe, and maybe even Randy Moss 20 years ago.
Yeah, Randy Moss, you see him play and everything, and then you hear him talking, you're like, man, that guy's from West Virginia for sure. I did not expect that.
Yeah. Well, I'm from West Virginia also.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's just,
I told my wife if we keep moving south, they're going to bury me in the islands.
I hear you end up in, well, you're south of St. Simons, I guess.
I'm halfway between St. Simons and Amelia.
Okay. But look, I think Tech's going in the right direction. I do think winning heals a lot of things. I mean, it kind of starts there, right? I mean, you're not probably going to garner the donate. I mean, you even see at big schools, like I'm sure Auburn's donations are down right now,
Right.
as their team is. And the biggest thing is going to be kind of keeping, I think, some of the great hires that we've made, like Jay Batt, I could see getting poached as our AD. It's happened to us before.
Yes, I think that we have finally got the caliber of people in the house that can move us in a really good direction. But with that being said, everybody else wants them too, and money talks, and what walks, and they bat. I think Key's going to be solid there for a while, but I could see us losing offensive coordinator next year and maybe a defensive coordinator the year after that. And hopefully we groom our quarterbacks coach into taking over as coordinator.
Winky. I could definitely see Buster. I mean, Buster's name's already somewhat hot. I know what Kentucky wanted to talk to him. I think Arkansas wanted to talk to him. I could definitely see us losing Faulkner, but you're right. I think we got someone in Winky we could promote. If we promoted Winky, could we get Tashard Choice back? And have something to offer him position wise. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe and I don't know how great a coach Choice is, but I know he is a heck of a recruiter.
He's a heck of a recruiter. I do think he's a pretty good coach, because when he was on staff with Collins, he's one of the few people that ever talked a lot of sense to me. Like
Right.
he would be talking like, hey, if you're going to play running back here, you're going to have to learn how to block. You're going to learn how to be tough. I didn't hear a lot of that from anyone else.
Well, under Collins, probably maybe Choice and Key were the only two that had enough of vim and vigor about them to push forward. Everybody else was just pool noodle yes boys.
Thacker talked a lot of sense to me. He didn't really fall into the kind of cheerleading stuff as much. I kind of hate that it didn't work out. I just think with Thacker, he got elevated to a position he was not ready for yet.
Mature. I ain't gonna say he's not mature enough, but maybe he wasn't seasoned enough as a coach to take over a D1 position.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it's a maturity issue. I think it was an experience issue.
Right. Guys, I'll get off of here and listen to everybody else, but remember, support your favorite team. And my second favorite team, I actually have their little T-shirt on today.
Okay, who's this?
Slippery Rock.
Okay, is this the high school team there, or I'm not familiar?
No, Slippery Rock is a junior college in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania.
Ah, okay.
They went 14-1 last year, missed the national championship in their division by one game, I think.
All
They're a
right.
pretty good team.
Well, we'll have to check them out. Well, Mr. Burns, thank you so much for calling in.
Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you at the Flats next season.
See you there. All right, True Seminole, if you want to come back, I know you were kind of waiting for a minute. You're welcome. Or for anyone, if you want to call in, there's a StreamYard link at the top of the chat. If you want to talk ball with WreckTalk. Looking back at this article here in the AJC, I guess I have a subscription. I always let it lapse. By the way, if you're a news, like subscription-based services are garbage, let advertisers pay for things. In fact, I think TV and streaming services in general should be that. Do it like YouTube. YouTube's free. If you don't want to watch ads, you can pay like $18 a month. Let advertisers pay for the stuff. Stop blacking out games for no reason. All right. So we talked about Stantucci. I guess Thacker was being paid $650,000. Now I think it said Stantucci was making $600,000, but I guess he does elevate beyond. That was at the end of Thacker's contract. End of Stantucci's contract, he'll be making $850,000. And I'll say this: like once you start getting into that $1 million range as a coordinator, you're starting to get into top tier coordinator pay. And by the way, we need to be shaking the coffers now and find a way to give Buster Faulkner a raise. And I don't even know if that's a situation we could pay him enough to stay, but I think we need to try. He was in line to make $700,000 for the 2024 season. Share Tech's linebackers coach before being elevated defensive coordinator in October was being paid $450,000. All right, we've got Braden Gregory on the line. Let me switch screens here. I'm about to buy something else for the show where I can just press a button. I don't have to look through stuff. Give me 1 second here. Where is my caller screen? Where is it? Here it is. Mr. Gregory, how are you, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. What do you want to talk about tonight?
I mean, down for whatever. I'm calling in from Auburn, Alabama, so I'm down here.
Oh man, so you're are you from Auburn or you just live there?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Opelika, small little town right
Yep.
next to it, but yeah, I live in Auburn now, so definitely I feel the SEC atmosphere down here all the time while being pretty much I feel like the only Tech fan in this area.
It's interesting. Tech used to have a pretty rich rivalry with Auburn and Alabama. I mean, we're in Alabama's fight song. Oh, we lost you, dude. Call back in. Call back in. We'll keep the lines open. A guy calling from Auburn, Alabama. There's an Auburn, Georgia, too. Not far from where WreckTalk grew up in Winder. There he is. And he's back.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that Auburn, yeah, man, I've always wanted them to bring that rivalry back just so they can, like, I don't know, I can at least see them play in Jordan Hare Stadium because I go to Auburn games too, but
yeah,
I go to like Tech games every year too, but it's always been a thing. I've like loved the history of it, and I'm like, man, why can't we just bring them back?
Yeah, well, we were kind of talking about that with like the regionality of college football being gone and just the almighty dollar dominating all right now, which I feel like hasn't worked out super well in the past. When you're just money motivated, like Enron comes to mind, WorldCom, you tend to make very short-sighted decisions that don't have long-term benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Nico says, Opelika, you ever been to Rock and Roll Pinball?
I have been.
Is that like the go-to pinball place?
It's a pretty good little place. I'm actually going right. You might know right across the street. I'm going to Whistle Stop tonight. If you know where that's at.
Whistle Stop.
Yeah, it's like a little craft beer joint down there.
Okay.
So I'll be going down there, but that'll be a spot for tonight.
Well, what do you think about Tech this season? You know, we got completely new defensive staff, a lot of new players coming in. What are your expectations for this year?
See, like what we have all. I mean, I've watched all your videos and what other
Appreciate it.
people have said. It's just all about the defense, in my opinion, and like how if the defense can be just at least half as better as what it was last year, we will be. I feel like a 7 or 8 win team. We're like because our offense proved itself last getting better. You know, like this year, I feel like it's going to be a huge step there, and just so like if the defense just gets half as better, it'll be a good season for Tech.
I agree, and look, they've done everything up to not, having not played a game to make that I think they can do. Like I said, I think Romello Heights, Vanderberg coming in, just signed Thomas Gore, Zeke Biggers, Makia Scott, Sylvain Yanjuan, Joshua Robinson. Like all these kids can play. We're probably still going to have some depth issues on the defensive line. So if we take some injuries, that's going to be rough. I think we're better at linebacker. We bring back Efford. Tatum entered the portal and then said, no, psych, I'm coming back. Jackson Hamilton, EJ Lightsley. A lot of new faces that can make an impact on the defense.
Oh yeah. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. For the longest time, I thought I was about to go over to Ireland and watch it, but that fell through.
It's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, it was a lot, but
I think the cheapest package is like $3,000 that don't include your plane tickets.
Yeah, when I was like, originally going through the whole deal, I was planning on doing like that 2-day golf package.
That'd be lit.
I was gonna go. Oh, dude, I was gonna go enjoy that so much.
So you're a golfer?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I got asked to play in high school, and then from there on out, I've been golfing since then. So
I played on the golf team in high school, and because Chateau Alon was closed, I guess they hosted our team. We got to play the Chateau or the Woodlands every day, which was nice.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if you know like the Robert Trent Jones trails here.
Oh yeah.
Or not, but yeah, the one here at Grand National, and so we played those courses all the time and whatnot. I was never any good, but I feel like I'm decent now, but high school was definitely it's never worth anything.
What do you think about this Scotty Scheffler stuff then? It sounds like I've seen a lot of stuff like this, which was kind of my impression that he was embellishing what happened, but they're not dropping the charges, it doesn't look like.
I mean, I saw his lawyer saying that he was like, they're either going to drop it or we're going to go to the trial. Because, I mean, I don't think he did anything wrong. And I don't know if you saw, like, a video that came out yesterday from ESPN. It showed him, like, the dude barely moved his car, it looked like. And then, the cop, like, yanked him out and all that. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is stupid and needs to be dropped.
It looked like a nothing burger to me. And I don't know why they're so bent on it, because now you're pressing a guy that has a lot of money to fight you with, which is not the case. I mean, in the majority of America, it's just you don't have the money to fight it, and you just cop a plea deal and move about your life. But
yeah, I saw like also like it's just such a terrible scene for Louisville, the city, and how like the PGA won't be back there for a while. You can tell. And so
and that course is in, like, I have the EA golf game. And that course is in the game, and I'm not playing it anymore. I refuse. I'm protesting digitally.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm planning on going to the Georgia Tech Louisville game this year in Louisville with a couple buddies of mine. So
that'll be fun. Yeah, it used to be Papa John's Stadium, and then they had to rename it. I don't know what it is now, but that'll be a ton of fun. And me and Sea-Dog talked a ton of trash to Louisville fans last year, and they couldn't be nicer people, was my experience with them. So I think you'll have a good time.
Yeah. Last year, I know I went to the Wake Forest game, and those fans up there, they were great.
Whoever does their Barstool Twitter, though, is a total douchebag. I will say that. I don't know. That guy's got a problem.
Yeah.
But Twitter is an odd place.
Yeah.
It's idiots, just general idiots, or like Deion Sanders is on there. Their madness lies that way.
Yeah. But got that game, but yeah, no, definitely I'm looking forward to the season for sure. But I know I'm going to the Georgia State game like guaranteed. And then I'll be, I know, at the Miami one, and I'll find a couple more to sneak in there at. So,
Man, you do a lot of traveling. So how do you grow up in Auburn and become a Tech fan?
yeah. So my whole story with Tech is actually I became a Tech fan when I was in the like 3rd or 4th grade. And I was just telling, I think I was like my dad, I was like, man, I want to go to a Georgia Tech game. And the only reason I feel like I have no ties at all to Georgia Tech, no family, nothing. And my cousins who live in Tennessee, we always go through Atlanta. And I think honestly, I just saw it on the side of the interstate one day and was just like, yep, I'm going to be a Georgia Tech fan. And
Best
did
decision
that.
of your life.
Yep. And definitely, I've been to I actually have a record count of all my games I've been to. I'm like 14-6 in games I've been to.
It's pretty good.
And but went to that, and I've been to a game every single year since 2011, except COVID year because that was just chaotic to get into.
It was wild. So, I mean, it's no secret that I use tobacco, but one of the guys I go with does too. And they had like these czars that would go around the stadium if like you didn't have your whatever on, and he confiscated this guy's tobacco.
Yeah. Oh, that's a crazy story because I went in 2021 when Tech played Kennesaw State. I went to that because one of the guys who was on the offensive line for Kennesaw State went to Opelika High School, and we went to that game, and we were sitting there just minding our own business, just watching the game or whatnot. This like guy not officer, but like one of the stadium people comes up to us and is like, "Hey, we saw y'all vaping up, from wherever." And I literally told the guy, I was like, "I don't have a vape. I don't have anything on me." I was like, "You can literally like search me." And he was like, "Oh, I'm just telling you." And I'm like, "I'm telling you, I don't have anything."
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You pee in a trough, but we're gonna draw the line at vaping in the stadium. Okay,
Yeah,
I got it.
It was so freaking funny, but
yeah, and they only let like 11,000 fans in or something like that. But yeah, so you're 14-6 at Tech games. What's your most memorable experience going to a Tech game?
So what first comes to my mind is the 2018 Tech versus Miami game. I don't know why, but that one was it was a night game. It was really good atmosphere, and I remember that one pretty well. But yeah, I always sit in like section 121, 122. I don't know if on that. It's like on the visiting side of the stadium in that little corner right there. That's where I've always sat, and so do that. But that's a really memorable game. I went to the Syracuse game this past year, so that was rocking. And then
it was.
I mean, I went to 2017 Virginia Tech. That one was really fun.
We've played them well. Well, let me move on, Braden. I appreciate you calling in. We got another caller.
Yep, all good. I appreciate it. You have a good one.
You too, man. All right, now we got the Florida State fan on. True Seminole, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, you know it, brother. What's up?
Not much, man. I see you type in the chat 01 Yellow Rackets.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the touchdown Timothy who calls us the yellow jackoffs in his articles.
That might be a better one.
Yeah.
I might need to start using that.
But he calls y'all the semen holes. He's like, and I don't want to get into politics at all, but like how Donald Trump has a nickname that's catchy for everyone, like Touchdown Tim. Yes. Like if Donald Trump was an idiot college football fan, he would be Touchdown Tim.
I might need to go check this guy out.
Dude, I'm telling you. I don't know. You might. It was a while ago. The first article ever, me and Cedar didn't even know who he was. And he's talking and that was after we beat him when they refused to take a knee. And he said he was going to write every senator in the country to get this sorted out because he thought we were cheating.
Is Touchdown Tim a Miami fan?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. So this is the guy Slim's been talking about.
Yeah, that
Okay, all right.
Sea Dog
Starting
and
to
I
all click
discovered.
together for me.
Oh yeah, dude. He's hilarious. We had one of his he has like a list of hottest fans of other fan bases, which I think is just a roundabout way of saying these are fans of other teams that I would like to have sex with. And Jen Knoll was one of them. She called into the show and basically confirmed that he sent wiener pics to her. So he's a cool dude.
Quite the character. Quite the character.
Yeah, man. What do you want to talk about tonight?
Just locked on Big 12 at it again.
Dude, let me ask you this. And I won't do a poll in the chat, but tell me in the chat what you think. I almost think you should get a community guideline strike for what they're doing. Like it's out of control.
It's out of control, dude. It really is.
Did you see the one where it was like inside source says the ACC's kicking out Duke, Wake Forest,
Yes,
Pitt,
yeah,
and
that's
Boston
exactly
College?
the one I was going to talk about.
I watched it for a second, and then I didn't. I just commented because dude, their average. So if you've never like done a YouTube video, like it gives you all these metrics, and an important one is like the average view time. That actually dictates like how much ad revenue you get in part, because they want to see how long people are watching your video. It's got to be like 10 seconds for them. People watching, they're like, "Oh, this is complete garbage."
Yeah, it has. It's just clickbait titles, and that's all it is. So I would not be surprised if it was an average of 10-second views. I would not be surprised. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up another thing because I know this is you're a tech man, so I do want to bring this more to a Georgia Tech discussion.
All right.
So you're pretty confident in y'all's offensive line, and
Yes.
I was just wondering how would you match it up against week 1 you play Florida State, and Florida State is got a pretty good front seven coming in this season. How would you feel comfortable in matching up that offensive line against the front seven Florida State puts on the field?
So basically what you're asking is who has a better offensive line, Florida State or Georgia Tech?
Well, I mean, like throughout the season, would you be confident with Haynes King being behind this offensive line?
Oh, who would I rather Haynes King have an offensive line of, Tech or Florida State?
Yeah.
I think it's a pick 'em. I don't know much about Florida State's offensive line. I know it was really good last year. I don't think Tech's offensive line, if it is worse than Florida State's, is much worse. So I would be confident with either one. I think Georgia Tech's offensive line is that good. I think we could have the best offensive line in the conference.
Oh, okay. So, I mean that'd be pretty good for Georgia Tech, especially like the past few seasons y'all have had. I just don't.
Well, we have an
don't think y'all
offensive
beat Florida
line.
State, but
No, and I get that. Look, we have an offensive line head coach. We had a true freshman All-American on that offensive line last year. The guys have played with each other for a bit. In fact, I'm trying to think. We have one portal player who was like Keelan Rutledge, who unfortunately, and I got to look into how he's doing. He was in a car wreck. I don't think it was like life-threateningly serious, but it was injury serious. But he was like all whatever conference Middle Tennessee State's in. I'm just confident in it. And Jace was kind of talking about too. And I think I've heard people talking about Florida State because what was that big like 6'7" wide receiver y'all had last year?
Keon Coleman or Johnny Wilson.
I think it was Keon Coleman. How do you feel
the biggest one we had was Johnny Wilson. We called him the Birdman. He was 6'7". I know for sure. I don't know Keon Coleman's exact height.
Okay, yeah. I just remember when we played y'all during Key's interim year, you just kept throwing to him, and he just kept jumping over our defensive back. It wasn't even fair. How do you feel about your wide receiver room this year?
Cautious. If I had to be real and try to put it into a category, cautiously optimistic. Really, I mean, because I think we got some players that can ball. I think we got some receivers that could develop into those guys, like a Keon Coleman, like Johnny Wilson. You just got to see it happen, and that's the biggest problem, biggest issue, right there. But I do believe that we're going to have at least 2 receivers that come out in this receiving core that surprises a lot of people. That's just me.
Well, and that's not even the biggest question mark. I think we talked about this on Pigskin Pete's midday show a little bit, but how confident are you in DJU?
It's more. I am confident that DJ's not going to lose us games. I don't think he'll win us games, but I don't think he will lose. I don't think he'll be the exact reason we lose a game.
Do you have enough around him?
I do believe we have enough around him. I do,
Okay.
especially up front. I think this offensive line is better than the unit we had last year. A lot of people don't think that's going to translate, but I really do think this is a lot more talented. These guys were rated highly players. Alex Atkins has turned offensive lines at Florida State into at least decent production, but I think this is probably going to be one of the best offensive line we've had at Florida State for a long time, like 2014, 2013. I am pretty confident in this offensive line. And for the running back, I think the running back group's going to speak for itself this year.
All right. You stand on business.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been learning how you guys talk. What was I going to ask you? What is the line right now on this game? Do you
12
know?
and a half, I believe.
All right.
ESPN has it 12 and a half, I believe.
So if I give you 12 and a half points, where are you going with it? You taking Tech? You taking Florida State?
I'm taking Florida State with the points. I am going to take Florida State with the points because it's not a knock against really Georgia Tech's offense. I do think y'all could be a possible 8-win team. I think y'all can beat Louisville. I think Louisville's going to take enough of a step back that y'all do win that game. I still think y'all probably lose to. I think y'all play NC State, Notre Dame, Miami. Those three, and Georgia. I don't know. I really think y'all lose those ones.
Big underdogs in those games, so I don't.
Yeah, big underdogs in those games. But I think an 8-4 season for Georgia Tech isn't out of the picture by no means.
Well, that would mean we beat every team that I guess isn't ranked. So that 4 losses, that'd be Georgia, Florida State, Notre Dame, and NC State. And you'd have to win every other game. So it'd still be tough.
Yeah, true.
You beat North Carolina,
maybe
Miami.
7-5, yeah.
Yeah, I've been saying 6-6 just because I'm not quite sure what we've got defensively.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah, for me, it's Georgia Tech's defense. I don't think they're going to take the big leap that it needs to this year. I think if you can just get to top 50 defense, top 40 defense, that would be a good enough improvement to build on to next year.
Well, we were ranked 123rd last year, so that would be like an amazing
amazing jump, right? And that's just top 50. That's not the best of the best.
So before we end the show, I need to ask you this. You're going to be my insider source. I'm taking one out of Locked On and College Football Addiction. Are y'all eyeing Chris Winkie? Are y'all trying to get Chris Winkie from us?
I don't know too much on that. For me, I think Mike Norvell has shown to be a guy that likes to promote from within.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done, other than the Patrick Surtain hire and the Kenny Dillingham hire when he first got there. The rest of the guys have been just promoted from within.
He won a Heisman Trophy for you, though.
That's true. That is true. I don't know. I don't know if necessarily Chris Winkie's on the ballot, but I mean, if I'm a Georgia Tech fan, I don't want Chris Winkie taken from me yet.
I don't want him taken at all. I mean, he's kind of our hope if someone gets Faulkner right now.
Right.
Plus,
he's as an offensive coordinator type of role.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, man. It depends on if Alex Atkins stays another year. Because I think Mike Norvell he's spoken so highly about Alex. And
yeah, I'm saying in the event you need one. How many
job offers that Alex had last year and still remains on the roster, I don't know. I think somebody's going to get Alex, but I think we got a few guys in waiting right now that Mike Norvell has his hand on to push up to that next level. So I don't think we go outside the box for an offensive coordinator.
Well, I hear you. Well, man, I appreciate you calling in. We'll end the show here, but that's True Seminole, everyone. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yep. All right, let me scoop my seat back up here. All of a sudden, I got tired. Probably because I worked pretty hard this week. Who knows? Can't call it. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in, talking tech tonight. All y'all have a great and a safe Memorial Day weekend. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Oh, and if no one's told you, WreckTalk loves you. See you guys.